critical part. You need to do 2 posts to your classmates. So make sure you do that. And then your individual assignment. This is due Sunday. And remember, I said either a memo or a PowerPoint. This first individual assignment that you're going to be submitting is going to be a PowerPoint. Now it says 10 to 15 slides. I will say this. I don't necessarily count the number of slides. I find that not critically important. And let me tell you why. So over the years, as I've taught marketing classes, I'll give students an assignment to do like a marketing plan or business plan. And I always have students that come to me and they say, how many pages do you want that? And I just shake my head at them. I know that students are trained on asking that question because a lot of classes, a lot of professors will give a page requirement. But let me tell you about business. We don't like a lot of pages in business because we've got a lot going on. So I usually want an executive summary. And so I'm not going to be in there counting the number of slides. What I am going to look for is quality. So I look at quality, not quantity. Now, you can't do this assignment with just like 1 slide, 2 slides, 3 slides. You're going to need a few to have good quality work. But I am not going to count them and say, oh, they don't have 15 slides. We're going to dock them points. What you're going to do for this first individual assignment is a PowerPoint presentation, and you are going to create 3 or 4 goals for the marketing for mobile manufacturing. Then you're going to give explanation in 2 to 3 sentences for each goal, why you chose those goals. Now, when you put together your PowerPoint, your actual slide should have some bullet points, kind of like the slide you're looking at now. And then I'm going to minimize this down here in your notes section where you see me typing. This should be all the detail. So this should be the information you would be speaking if you were presenting this PowerPoint show to the board at Mobile Manufacturing. So if on your slide you have your goal, you maybe say, we're going to increase sales by 10% by Q2. That might be your goal. And then down here in the notes, you're going to give some explanation as to why and how you're going to achieve that goal. Down here in these notes is where you should also have your references. So you'll have your outside source information. You should have in-text citations as well as end of paper references. So make sure that you've got good information down here in the notes as if you're speaking to your audience, explaining the slides that you have. Keep your slides clean. Don't put all of your information on the slide like you're using it as a Word document and you're writing a paper. You're going to have bullet points, bigger font. You want to make sure your font is the same throughout the PowerPoint presentation. So I'll see students who it'll switch fonts, the layout isn't done well. It doesn't look like it's one cohesive presentation. So make sure that you are attentive to the design issues of your PowerPoint. That does matter. You want people to pay attention to whatever material you're presenting. This is a good class to get some practice in how to do PowerPoint. And I'm happy to help you if you do have questions. I'm based on some of the homework I've graded over the last almost 2 years, I'm thinking about putting together a little PowerPoint presentation myself on how to do PowerPoint presentations. So make sure that you've got, it looks clean, it's got a good white space, you've got cohesive font structure and size, and then you've got good information down in your notes. So the primary thing where I see students really mess this up is that they don't do the goals correctly. So your goals should be SMART goals. And I don't know if any of you have heard of the SMART terminology. I'm going to go over it. I'm going to go over it extensively because I really want you guys to get this right. You will use this time and again in business. I have explained it to many, many, many business people throughout the years. SMART stands for simple, measurable, actionable, reachable, and time bound. Those are not separate things. You will not have a separate goal for simple. You will not have a separate goal for measurable. You will not have a separate goal for actionable or reachable or time bound. That those 5 things are the components that need to be present in each goal that you create for mobile manufacturing. So some typical categories where we would look at setting goals for a company might be looking at sales in dollars or units, looking at market share, customer awareness, profitability, a return on investment, or customer satisfaction. So if you were to say, market share is how many of all the customers that are available in a given industry, how many of those customers belong to mobile manufacturing? If you have 15% of the customers as mobile manufacturing customers, you have 15% market share. So you may say, we want to increase market share 20% by Q3. That's simple, measurable. You're going to increase it. What did I say? 15%. 15%. So it's simple, measurable, actionable. You're going to increase market share. That's an action, an activity. It's reachable. It's only 15%. So it's very easy to do. And it's time bound. You're going to do it by, I think I said Q3, Q2, Q3, whatever. You've got to have that time bound in there, because if you just leave it open, how will you know when you've achieved the goal? It has to have a beginning date and an end date. Your beginning date is when you put the plan together. Your end date is what you say it is in that goal. So let's take a look at a SMART goal. This is SMART, simple, increase sales 10%, measurable, you can measure it, it's going to be increased by 10%, actionable, you have an increase in sales, reachable, and time bound, it's going to happen by Q2. All of your goals should have the SMART components: simple, measurable, actionable, reachable, and time bound. Make sure that you're putting goals together that look like this and have the SMART components. Does everybody understand that? Does anybody have any questions about SMART? Now is the time to ask them. I mean, you can ask them throughout the course, that's fine, but you have me here. If you have questions, let's talk about them. If you do not have goals structured with the SMART components, you will get some points taken off. You have to structure your goals this way. That's how we do it. That's how business operates. Questions. And the other thing is, during the live chat, I do not mind at all if you interrupt and ask a question. You can just go for it. I don't mind at all. I get sick of hearing myself talk.
Okay, Instructor Goolsby.
Yeah.
Okay, on the PowerPoint for the speaker notes, do you precisely want 200 to 250? No,
I do not.
okay.
I am not going to count your words.
Okay, you just want everything just to be there and clean.
I want it to be there and clean, and it needs to, your speaker notes need to validate the information that you're providing in the PowerPoint. So,
okay, then.
Yeah. So pretend like if you were presenting your PowerPoint to me, the speaker notes should be what you would tell me while you're presenting that.
Okay, understand. Okay,
So
thank you.
yeah, like I'm the audience and this is what you would tell me.
Okay, all right then.
That
Thank
makes
you.
sense?
Yes, it
Okay.
does.
All right, very good. All right. So when you put together anything for this class, pay close attention to your writing. I have in parentheses here Grammarly. If you guys have not downloaded Grammarly, do it. Do it, do it, do it, and don't even think twice. It is the best thing I've ever seen. I wish I had had it when I was in school. If you still have a bunch of classes left to go with CTU, I would get the paid version. It's not terribly expensive. But if you only have like 1 or 2 classes to go, I would maybe just do the free version. I have the free version on my computer. You download it and it's an extension onto all of your programs. So even if I'm sending an email, Grammarly's right there checking my email. And what it does is it'll put a big red underline if I have something incorrect. If I've spelled the word incorrectly, if I don't have the right punctuation, all kinds of things in there. And all you have to do then is click on the red underline and it will correct it for you. It automatically corrects the word for you. It will show you the correction. So what it will do is it will keep you from making grievous mistakes in your writing and getting a bad grade, but it will also help improve your writing, because after you see Grammarly correcting your stuff enough times, you're like, oh, okay, your writing will drastically improve as you go through this. It is, I'm not getting paid by them, although they should, because I recommend it for I've recommended it to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students. And I worked on a congressional campaign a couple of years ago, and the campaign staffers were the worst writers I've ever seen. And I told the congressional candidate, I said, I cannot continue to work with these people. You need to buy all of them Grammarly. So he went in and he bought the paid version of Grammarly for everybody that worked on his campaign. And it helped my sanity, and it helped his, it made him look smarter because they weren't sending out stuff with his name on it that was spelled incorrectly. So use Grammarly. It is, I cannot say enough good stuff about it. Okay, so pay attention to your writing, pay attention to the layout, making sure that you're using good paragraph structure. And if it's calling for a memo, you've got a memo. If it's PowerPoint, you're using PowerPoint, that you're using good layout structure in your discussion board posts. I see some people that will center justify. Don't do that. That's horrible, hard to read. Always left justify, and then make sure that you're fulfilling the requirements. So you can go through and you can look at the scoring rubrics. You can look at the individual requirements in the assignments, and before you hit submit, just make sure you have all of the requirements that it's asking for. The other thing I will tell you guys is make sure that you have a good way to file your documents on your computer. I get students all the time. I'm reading through their assignment and I'm like, what in the world is this assignment that they've uploaded? Because it has nothing to do with what they were supposed to. And they're like, oh, I got the files confused. Don't do that. Get organized. The only way you're going to make it through school is to get organized. So make a file that says CTU marketing 630. All your assignments go in there. You could even have a file that has discussion board 1 and your discussion board stuff goes in there. IP1 and your individual project goes in that file. Make sure that you know what you're submitting. Look at it before you hit submit. I mean, I usually do give you another chance if you've really royally screwed it up and put the wrong assignment in there, but really good organization will get you far. I mean, I do a lot. I have a couple businesses that I run. I'm teaching a lot of online classes. I'm writing chapters for a textbook. I'm a single mom. I have 2 kids. The only way I can keep it all together is just to be incredibly organized. If you figure that out, it will help you tremendously. You'll be able to get a lot done in a short amount of time. All right, so any questions before we look at the marketing environment, which is your big discussion board post assignment for this week, this first week? Does anybody have any questions? I went over SMART goals. The SMART goals are going to be your individual project assignment. Okay, so your individual project is your PowerPoint with your SMART goals. Your discussion board post is going to be about the marketing environment. So that's what I'm going to spend the rest of class kind of explaining the marketing environment and the components of the marketing environment that you need to be concerned with for mobile manufacturing. But if you have any questions on SMART goals, if you have questions on that IP assignment, let me know and we can talk about that in a little more detail if you need. Okay. All right. So the marketing environment. This is why I love marketing, because there are so many things that you need to be aware of. And everything is always fast paced, happening all at once, lots of components that are going to impact and affect your marketing. There is never a day that's like any other day in marketing. There's never a dull moment with marketing. There's always something exciting happening. And that's why I love, love, love marketing. You don't put, a marketing plan or your goals or any of that. You don't just put them in a binder and put them on a shelf and forget about it. It's something that you have to constantly be paying attention to, because whatever's happening